Iran, the bully of the Middle East, must now make peace.
Trump moved forward with military strikes against Iran.
Iran is very different from Venezuela.
If they do not, future attacks will be far greater and a lot easier.
If war breaks out between Iran and the US tomorrow, gas prices could double within a week. Not just in America, this will affect all of us, everywhere. Because 20% of the world's oil passes through a waterway Iran controls. So one strike, one miscalculation, and the global economy will crash. But here's what I personally ask myself a lot lately, and I believe many of us are asking the same question. How did Iran and US get here? How did they become real enemies? Today, we're going to know the real story. Hello beautiful people, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm so glad you're joining us. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and join the fun. For those who've been here before, you already know the drill. Grab a snack, get comfy, and let's dive into today's story. This is Iran in 1951. Tehran in springtime, coffees are packed with people debating poetry and politics. Women in fashionable dresses are walking freely to universities. Cinemas are also showing the latest Hollywood movies, and jazz spilling out onto the streets. This isn't some fantasy, this isn't a lie. This was really real. This was Iran back then. It was called Persia. It was very sophisticated, very cosmopolitan, and very progressive. And beneath all of that, literally beneath the soil, was an ocean of oil. And that's exactly why Iran will never be left alone. This is a country that just elected a man named Mohammad Mossadegh as a prime minister, democratically and peacefully. And he's about to make one decision that will change everything for his country. Mossadegh wants something very simple. He just wants to control over Iran's own oil. But see, British Petroleum, the BP, controls all the Iran's oil. They take about 85% of the profits, and Iran gets roughly 15%. So Iranian oil, Iranian soil, but British profits. Something is wrong here. So Mossadegh says, this is insane. This is not normal. So he nationalized the oil and takes it back through a vote in parliament. At the same time the world was celebrating him, Time magazine puts him on the cover. He addresses the United Nations.
Confronts a grave problem as Premier Mohammad Mossadegh of Iran arrives with Secretary Trygve at the Security Council to present his side of the explosive Iranian oil case.
Iran finally controls its own resource. But from there, everything is about to change. Britain is furious. They freeze Iranian assets, send warships to the Persian Gulf, impose brutal sanctions, but Mossadegh won't back down. And Britain goes to Washington with a warning. If we lose Iran, the Soviets will take it. It's 1953. Height of the Cold War, America's terrified. The CIA hatches a plan, Operation Ajax. They pay protesters, bribe military officers, and spread propaganda to create the chaos in the streets. In August 1953, they managed to overthrow Iran's democracy. Now Mossadegh is arrested. The Shah, a dictator loyal to the West, takes the power. And this isn't a conspiracy theory. Actually, in 2013, the CIA officially released documents admitting they did stage this. From there, Iran's democracy will die for oil. After 1953, America had a plan. Make Iran our closest ally in the Middle East. We sell the Shah everything, F-14 fighters jets, tanks, missiles, surveillance technology. Iran becomes a military powerhouse, a wall against Soviet influence. On the surface, all of this worked. So Tehran modernized, universities expand, and infrastructures grows. But underneath, there is a nightmare. The Shah will create SAVAK, a secret police force that trained by the CIA, advised by Mossad. SAVAK doesn't just arrest protesters. They torture them. Electric shocks, sleep deprivation, executions, so thousands disappears. Political parties are banned, free press are crushed, and oppositions are eliminated. The US knows we don't care. President Carter goes to Tehran, toasts the Shah, calls Iran an island of stability, and that's normal because the plan is working, oil is flowing, weapons are sold, and strategic interests are protected. But here's what they didn't see coming. Pressure doesn't disappear when you suppress it. It's the opposite. It builds, it gets intense. And that's why millions pour into the streets. Students, workers, communists, nationalists, religious conservatives, everyone wants one thing: the Shah gone. And in February 1979, he definitely flees from Iran. And then Ayatollah Khomeini returns from exile, charismatic, uncompromising, anti-American to his core. He promises to end foreign interference, restore Iranian dignity. Exhausted Iranians embrace him with much of hope. Then in November 1979, Iranian students, revolutionaries, angry at America, attacks the US embassy in Tehran.
This is a message of the students in the American embassy of Tehran. We are not against the people of the USA. We are against of the United States policy in Iran.
They took 52 American diplomats as hostage, basically kidnapped them and held them prisoners. 444 days. So over a year, they wouldn't let them go. On American TV every night.
Iranian students continue to hold more than 50 hostages at the American embassy in Tehran this morning.
Images of American hostages with blindfolds, angry Iranian crowds in the streets screaming, well, death to America. They were also burning American flags. And from the other side, Americans watching this are confused and angry. Why do those people hate us so much? We didn't do anything to them. But Iranians are thinking, well, you supported the Shah, our dictator, for 25 years. He tortured us, you knew it, but you didn't care. So this is our payback. And from that moment, 1979, America and Iran became permanent enemies. Fast forward to the war, 1980. And here comes Saddam Hussein. Well, Saddam Hussein was a different leader. He sees weakness and then invades Iran. The war will last 8 years, and estimates put the casualties at over 1 million, maybe even twice than that. Saddam starts using chemical weapon. We're talking poison gas that melts your skin and chokes you to death. And he's not just using it on soldiers, he's dropping it on civilians too. Clear war crime. And the word was silence. Like the word does every time people are dying somewhere around the world. What's amazing, it's that history keeps definitely repeating itself, and people, leaders, are never really learning from it. The US, Britain, France, they're helping Saddam. Intelligence weapon, diplomatic cover. Even after he gasses Iranian soldiers, they kept helping him. Iran fights alone. No allies, no supports, just survival. So they learn one lesson: nobody will save us. 2015, a miracle, the Iran nuclear deal.
Today, after 2 years of negotiations, the United States, together with our international partners, has achieved something that decades of animosity has not. a comprehensive long-term deal with Iran that will prevent it from obtaining a nuclear weapon.
Iran agrees to limit its nuclear program. International inspectors verify everything and sanctions lifts.
The International Atomic Energy Agency has verified that Iran has implemented its nuclear-related commitments under the JCPOA. As Iran has fulfilled its commitments, today multilateral and national economic and financial sanctions related to Iran's nuclear program are lifted in accordance with the JCPOA. The European Union and the United States have issued relevant guidelines on the details of sanctions which have been lifted, thus facilitating international engagement in Iran's economic development.
It works. Iran kind of reduced enriched uranium stockpile by 97%. The IAEA, the UN's nuclear watchdog, repeatedly confirms that Iran is complying with every requirement. For the first time in decades, war feels avoidable.
Two important agreements regarding Iran's nuclear program have been concluded today. I am very pleased that a joint comprehensive plan of action has been reached between Iran and the E3+3 group of countries.
Then comes 2018, where Trump will pull out of the deal.
At the heart of the Iran deal was a giant fiction that a murderous regime desired only a peaceful nuclear energy program. Therefore, I am announcing today that the United States will withdraw from the Iran nuclear deal.
So, Iran didn't break any rules here. There was no proof they were cheating. Trump just decided, like Trump likes to do, just decided to quit by himself. America brings back the sanctions, even worse than before. Iran's economy falls apart. Their money becomes worthless. So people can't even afford food. The Iranian moderates, the one who says, let's negotiate with America, now look really like fools. Because the hardliners, the one who never trusted America, tell everyone, see, we have told you, America always breaks its promises. And honestly, they had a point. So Iran says, fine, and goes back to building their nuclear program. They kick out the inspectors, they support more militias across the Middle East. And the deal that could have prevented war, now it's gone with Trump. So every chance as peace is literally today is destroyed. Iran keeps working on building a nuclear bomb. They are processing uranium, the material you need for nuclear weapons, and they are getting really close. The UN's nuclear inspectors say that Iran has enough material to make about 10 nuclear bombs if they finish processing it. Now jumps Israel and says, absolutely not gonna happen. We're gonna stop them from doing this.
Iran will be capable of producing alone, without importing anything, nuclear bombs within 3 to 5 years. Iran is gearing up to produce 25 bombs, atomic bombs a year, 250 bombs in a decade.
They're very close. They're 6 months away from being about 90% of having the enriched uranium for an atom bomb.
Iran is so dangerous. Weeks away from having the fissile material for an entire arsenal of nuclear bombs.
The stored up, preserved knowledge to make a bomb very quickly. If they wanted to.
If not stopped, Iran could produce a nuclear weapon in a very short time. It could be a year, it could be within a few months.
So in June 13, 2025, Israel will bomb Iran's nuclear facilities. 8 days later, America joins in. They call it Operation Midnight Hammer. Massive American bombers drop huge bombs, each one weighs 30,000 pounds, on Iran's underground nuclear sites. So the facilities are destroyed and over 600 Iranians die, including nuclear scientists. And Trump declares victory. Iran's nuclear program is completely stopped. But here's one thing. Now, fast forward to February 2026. Satellites photo shows that Iran is already rebuilding everything, and they are being smarter this time. They are building the facilities even deeper underground, so they are harder to bomb. So they are putting roofs over the construction sites, so satellites also cannot see that what they are doing. Intelligence agencies say that Iran is trying also to recover whatever nuclear material survived the bombing. But the scary part of all of it, America and Iran are talking at the United Nations again. But they are not negotiating the situation, they are just threatening each other. Trump says, if you restart your nuclear program, we will bomb you again. Then Iran says, if you attack us again, we'll start a regional war. Now, American warships are already positioned in the Indian Oceans, just ready to strike. Israel says they won't let Iran rebuild. And remember, 20% of the world's oil passes through that narrow waterway Iran controls. So yeah, we're not just talking about expensive gas. We're talking about World War III if those two countries do not work things out. And here's what nobody is saying. This has to happen. In 1953, the US could have respected Iranian democracy to start with, to begin with. In 1980, the US could have condemned Saddam's chemical weapons. No, they didn't, and instead they did help him. And 2018, the US could have stayed also in the nuclear deal, but thanks to Trump, every hope of peace is now gone. Every single time you choose confrontation, I mean US, you after that act surprised that Iran doesn't trust you. So the question isn't why does Iran hate America? The question is, how did America create this enemy? And I have the answer, but let's be very clear about something. This conflict has nothing to do with Islam. It has nothing to do with religion. It has nothing to do with terrorism. Nothing to do with even they hate our freedom. This is about resource, power, and control. In 1953, Britain was losing its empire. Iran had oil, so they called America, and together they destroyed Iran's democracy. And this feels like a déjà vu, because they have done this so many times before. But not because Iran was too dangerous, because Iran wanted to control its own oil. That's it. That's the whole story. Everything that came after the dictatorship, the revolution, the hostages, the war, the nuclear program, all of that, it traces back to that one decision. So to steal resource made by other countries to steal other countries' resource. And the part that will make you really angry is none of this could have happened without Iranians who were willing to sell out their own people. The Shah didn't torture Iranians because he just was evil. He did it because it kept him in power and kept Western oil flowing. Iranian officials today who profits from sanctions and corruption. Same story. Different decade. Every empire needs collaborators. So people are willing to betray their own country for money, for power, for seat at the table. That's the real pattern here. Not Islam versus the West, and not democracy versus terrorism. It's an empire. The same empire that divided Africa, the same empire that occupied India, the same empire that's still deciding which governments get to exist and which ones get to overthrown. The same empire that lecture us today about freedom and respect and safety and honesty. So Iran's story isn't unique. It's just one of the clearest examples of how it works. Find a country with resource. Install a leader who cooperates better if he's a local, and if the people resist, so let's just crush them. And if they overthrow your puppets, you can sanction them, you can bomb them, you can demonize them in front of the whole world, and then repeat. And somehow I want to say that it feels like also we're talking about the Palestine situation. So that was the real story, not the one they tell you on the news or the actual one. If this made you see things differently, please subscribe to our channel to see more. And before I go, like usual, I'd like to ask you for your support for my animal welfare initiative, because you know what? Building a kinder world starts with teaching compassion towards animals, the planet, and each other. So if this resonates with you, I'll be so grateful if you could check out the donation link in the description box. Every little penny will help us rescue and care for animals in need. So thank you for helping and making a difference.